Hey everybody, welcome back to Tuesday Night Legacy. My name is Eugene, and we are here in round one from February 8th. We have on the left Blue Black Ninjas piloted by Raphael, and we have Sean on a mono black control list that runs Pox and all sorts of planeswalkers and stuff. The Blue Black Ninjas list, typically a tempo list, and the mono black control being a control list. I did want to make a quick note that there was a slight miscommunication about the use of proxies in this match, and the Watery Graves are considered underground seas. We have talked to the player, and we don't typically allow proxies at the store, and it's not a big deal. Not going to happen again, but I will be referring to them as underground seas for the match. With all that said, let's get going. So we're starting out the match here with Sean on the play. Sean putting down the Urza's Saga. This is either going to get him all sorts of constructs for beats, or it's going to get him a 0-drop or a 1-drop artifact out of his deck to deal with whatever's going on in the meantime. All right, an Urborg coming down. Him to Turok is going to get dazed. The Changeling Outcast coming down for Raphael. This is technically a ninja. It cannot be blocked, but it also cannot block. But it's perfect for getting in those ninjutsu triggers. Retrofitter Foundry coming down. This is a wonderful utility card that can make sagas, or not sagas. It can make servos, it can make thopters, and it can also make 4/4 constructs. The Urza Saga trigger going off on main phase, floating a black mana because of the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth in play, getting Pithing Needle. Pithing Needle entering the battlefield, choosing the Retrofitter Foundry. Fun interaction there. Once you allow the Urza Saga trigger to go on the stack and resolve, even if they go and choose Pithing Needle, you cannot respond to the Pithing Needle entering the battlefield because it is not an enter the battlefield trigger, it is a static effect. All right, we see with the floated mana with the Wasteland and the Urborg, Liliana of the Veil coming down, a Planeswalker well known to the Legacy community. The +1 making each player discard a card. It is not targeted, so you cannot stop it with things like Veil of Summer. -2 is target player sacrifices a creature, which is targeted. It's the target player, but it's not targeting a specific creature. It's all sorts of weird targeting effects, which made her just so very effective for the longest time in Legacy. We see an island come down on Raphael's side, and once it's back on Sean's side, he -2 the Lily, getting rid of the Changeling Outcast, and slap down the Ashiok Dream Render. So this is one of the newer Planeswalkers, and by newer, it's already War of the Spark several years ago. It has a static effect that says that opponents can't search their library, or spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controllers to search their library. And it also has a -4 and exile your graveyard. So pretty good for the control player. We see a double Wasteland blowing out Raphael's non-basics there. And then a Dark Ritual into Karn the Great Creator. So Sean playing the Planeswalker game here. Going and getting an artifact he owns outside of the game, so that is out of the sideboard. He chose Liquid Metal Coating. This card has an interaction with Karn, where you can tap it, make one of your opponent's lands an artifact, and then when you plus the Karn and target that artifact, it becomes a 0/0 creature, and because it's a 0/0 creature, it dies. And so this is a turn-by-turn land destruction. So quite the lockdown that Sean has here with these three Planeswalkers. He can't actually end the game with any three of them, but with all of them together, it's quite an impressive lock on his opponent's resources. We see a tick up with the Karn Great Creator, and a plus from the Lily. A 0 attack from the Ornithopter is going to get ninjutsu'd out for the Ingenious Infiltrator. This is a 2/3. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. So it's a step up from a Ninja of the Deep Hours, where that ninja specifically has to hit to draw a card, whereas this is any ninja that hits, you draw cards, which works well with that card from earlier, the 1-mana 1/1, the Changeling. I can't remember its name now. All right, we see 2 damage coming in. Ornithopter attacking, I think maybe to bait a removal spell maybe, but no damage is dealt. Draw the card from the Ingenious Infiltrator back to Sean. Sean's going to minus Lily, cast a Lily, minus Lily, and then Liquid Metal Coating the last land that Raphael has. So, a brutal denial of resources here. 7 counters on Karn. Okay. Raphael's going to call it. That's going to be game 1. We are going into game 2 here with Raphael on the play. We have a Marsh Flats and Underground Sea with a Retrofitter Foundry to start the game on Raphael's side. Swamp into Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is going to be able to take any 1 card. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to get that Dazed instead. Sea coming back down. Pass the turn. Can't activate that Retrofitter Foundry yet because it costs 2 to create the Servo. We're going to see a Dark Ritual here from Sean into a Liliana the Veil. Maybe considering whether it's going to resolve. And it does resolve, and the +1, each player discards a card. We're discarding Maze of Ith and another Daze. Ponder for Raphael. Taking a look at the top 3. Does like those top 3. Getting down an Ornithopter and a land. So I think Sean is looking for a way to deal with a Retrofitter Foundry more than anything else. Liliana's going to tick down, getting rid of that Ornithopter. Looking at a Hand of Permission. Force of Will, Force of Negation, and Daze. Going to take the Force of Will. It's going to allow him to cast creatures still. Urza Saga coming down, already on 2 counters. Plus up, discard a card. Now, the way that this ability works is that each player discards the card simultaneously, so neither player gets extra information of knowing what either one is going to discard at any given time. So you always want to discard that card face down until each player decides which card that they're going to get rid of. Don't want to give away extra information. We see a Servo come down here, coming in for 1. Going to create the Construct off of the Urza Saga. And then the Mishra's Factory is going to activate, turning itself into a 2/2 artifact creature. And so the Construct is a 2/2. And Raphael is going to let that Servo go. Although thinking about it, well, isn't that interesting? I am not entirely certain how cleanup would work for that specifically. When the Mishra's Factory would stop being an artifact, if the Construct reverting to a 1/1 would take lethal, or if that all goes off the stack at the same time. That would be a judge question that I am not qualified to answer. We see the Urza Saga go and get Pithing Needle, naming Retrofitter Foundry. The second Construct was created off of the Urza Saga before it left. So now he's got 3 beaters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these Constructs are 4/4s, and the Mishra's Factory is a 2/2. Minus on the Lily, making Raphael discard or sacrifice the Ornithopter. Pass it back. Not a whole lot of action on Raphael's side. The Liliana the Veil doing a lot of work here, discarding all kinds of different cards. Gonna cast a Kickered Turok. So Turok comes in as a 2/1, but if you kick it and pay the 4 mana, then it makes your opponent basically have to hymn to Turok, discard 2 cards at random. And yep. So the Liliana's going to plus up there, and Raphael's going to call it, and that will be the end of our round 1. Please join us next time for round 2, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thanks.